Things are looking good. Just checking it out. Yep. Not too bad, I think. Okay. It's okay. And here we are live. Waiting for a few seconds. Make sure everything's all right. And hello, everybody. If I look tired, I am tired. I had a didn't sleep well last night, and I had a hell of a weekend. One of the main reasons I didn't do the weekend news bulletin, I had some unusual or unexpected stuff to do, but also for some reason, starting Friday, I had this ache in my left leg from about just above the knee all the way down to my foot. And Saturday and Sunday was quite intense to a point where when I had some time to just relax, I just lie down and relax. So that's pretty much what happened, and pretty much why, a big part of why there was no tech news this weekend, where I was supposed to start the tech news stuff. So, hello everybody. We're about to start. So, hey everyone, welcome to this live show every Tuesdays. This is the live tech show. We're at number 54, and we are Tuesday, November 22nd, 2016. This is every Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2000 hours Universal Time. And basically we answer questions, and now we have a nice chat room and everything, so hope everybody is all right. And basically, we answer questions mostly sent through helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com. But of course, if questions pop up in the chat room, I will take a look at that also towards the end of the show. Once again, a little quiet question-wise, so I did a little bit of fill-in in some of the slides with questions that I had from other people in the past few weeks that I thought is always interesting to revisit, because some people, a lot of newbies around, and it's so basically everything is all right. By the way, in the chat room, there's a lot of people mentioned when they go to the chat room, they're like, hey, I didn't get the show till 10 this time or this time. But one of the things that we know is that the chat room, as soon as I start kind of the live stuff, the chat room is available. So most of the time the chat room is available from anywhere from 30 minutes to 45 minutes before. So people join in early sometimes on the live show. So welcome everybody, and hope everybody is okay. I'm better than I was. I had one hell of a ache in my left leg for some reason. I have no idea why, and it started getting better yesterday. It still hurts just a little bit today, but pretty good, compared to this weekend. I'll take it. We had our first snow here in Montreal. We had about 10 centimeters of snow. That's about 4 inches yesterday. And of course, that put me pretty much in Christmas mood. So I just, in the back of the camera, you guys don't see it, but there's a Christmas tree now that is built. So I've kind of thought, well, okay, snowy day. I'm doing the Christmas. So yesterday was very, very particular. I was in a very, very special mood, making a Christmas tree and some Christmas music playing, real old classics like Bing Crosby and Andy Williams and stuff like that, that my mom listened when I was young, and always reminds me of some good childhood memories. So, hey, let's start the show. Of course, Patreon, one of the places you can help me, and donations, patreon.com/radio and computers. You can, give any amount per show that I do. It's always appreciated, and basically the way it works, you get charged the first of the month, and you can get out anytime you want, so there's no catch, there's nothing there, and you give when you can, and when you can't, you just get out of it. There's no issues there. One-time donations on PayPal at the Yahoo email address you see here, of course, helps me in improving and making the shows better. So hopefully you guys enjoy today's show as usual. Let's start with some of the questions that we have with the show. Hello everybody in the chat room, by the way, and pretty cool to see. Pretty glad to see everybody here. So okay, and the first questions that sorry, we've received in the email. So okay, we have some Edge browser questions. One came through the email from our friend Albert Zappa that hadn't used Edge browser for a few weeks, and when you opened it, the icon in the taskbar was blacked out. Clicked on an empty space, and Edge did open, but it just like new and everything was gone. So that is also something that happened to William, that is also asking me a few questions on Edge. So okay, first of all, browser, all the favorites, everything is kind of reset to 0. It seems to be a glitch. Sorry, it seems to be a glitch with the Edge browser itself. I have that happened to one of my Windows 10 PCs, but because I'm logged in and synchronized with the other PCs, well, when I restarted the PC, after a few minutes, everything synchronized back to the browser, so it came back to normal. But I know that it didn't come back to normal because it fixed itself. It just came back to normal because it looked at my other computers and resynced the favorites and the stuff that I had in Edge. But I think there is a glitch, and I was trying, because one of the things that Albert's mentioning is it because of the updates, the Tuesday updates? And I was thinking about that, and I was trying to remember when mine did it, if we had an update before. And I think I had. So maybe it has to do with a glitch when there's some Windows updates, especially if that Windows update updates something within Edge. Maybe something happens. It could also be that maybe the profile, because Microsoft Edge, and I'm actually working on a series of videos on some specifics of Edge, including where a lot of the files and the stuff are in Edge. I was thinking that maybe at some point you've got some, maybe your profile got corrupted in your hard drive, and Edge just couldn't start. But one of the things that's weird is you got a black icon as if Edge was kind of gone for a second. So it's kind of weird, and it could have something to do with updates. I don't know. It's sometimes weird, but it did happen, like I say, to me once, and it kind of fixed itself because everything's synchronized together. As for William, sorry guys, got a little problems in my throat, which is the usual for the past few months, and maybe I talk too much, I don't know. William asked me about the favorites bar, because he was wondering. He says, well, I see in your videos you got the favorites bar, and he doesn't know where to get the favorites bar. So basically the favorites bar in Edge is available through the 3 little dots on the right side of Edge browser. And when you go to the settings, here you will have favorites. And if you look at your favorite settings, there's a little, there's a slider, show the favorites bar, and it's an on-off slider. And you have a second slider that you can switch on or off to get only icons or the full website name also in the favorites bar. So that's where you'll get the favorites bar. I always enjoy having a bar. Every browser that I use, I always activate the favorites bar because it is such an easy and fast way to get your favorite websites. You're also asking me if there's a way to erase everything and reset the browser if there's an issue. Well, once again, if you go into Microsoft Edge, go 3 dots on the upper right corner, and you go once again into Settings. You go down, and there's something called Clear Browsing Data. So if you click here, you will have all of the information that you can do. So browsing history, cookies, cache data, download history, form, passwords. And if you click the Show More, you can also remove media licenses, pop-up exceptions, location permissions, full screen permissions, notifications, and everything. So you can click Clear on this, and it pretty much resets your browser in what you are doing. So that's pretty much where you go to get all of that. And so hopefully answers partly some of the questions for Albert and for William. These are, you know, interesting little things, but as for the browser and everything, yeah, it does have maybe some issues sometimes. So pretty cool. So as for people asking, the best place to ask first for questions is the email, okay? Because for the first part of the show, I don't look at the chat room really a lot. I see it, you know, scroll by, but I'll answer first the questions that I have in the email or that I've had already set up. And if I have time and if time permits, basically you can, you know, I'll check for some questions in the chat, but you know, yeah, and like Bobby Burgess says, there is a more advanced way to reset totally, to totally reset Edge, but we're gonna stay into the simple ones for now and add more complex ideas on videos that I'll post. More videos coming, by the way. A few of you asked me. Yes, more videos. Sorry, are coming in for the series on the registry, and yes, there are a lot of things. You know, as time permits. My biggest enemy right now is not having enough time. Okay, interesting question that came through that came through from Ben. Ben says, hello, and I have a few questions concerning net neutrality, as I don't understand this a lot, and there's been a lot of talk about it here in the United States with the FCC, and I want to know what you think about net neutrality, what it is, and maybe explain it a little more in words that I can understand. And thank you for your answer. So net neutrality, and today is a perfect day for that to talk about it, because for those that watch my news bulletin, Donald Trump has assigned a few people at the FCC that are against net neutrality. That means in the next year, it's going to be interesting to see how net neutrality goes in the United States. So what is net neutrality? The net neutrality is, first of all, something extremely important, because what the idea behind net neutrality means at first is basically every website, everything has the same level. It's created equal. Whether you're a Netflix giant with video or a starting company with video, whether you're Facebook, whether you're that little website that's just trying to get out in the world and be known. Everybody is equal. There's no advantage given to one more than the other. And there's no paying for content in a way that, for example, net neutrality makes sure that your internet service provider gives you access to every website in the world with no distinction of what it is. Why it's important to have net neutrality? It's because when net neutrality is broken, that's where things are getting messed up. That means some websites might have more importance than others. It means internet service providers might say, for example, okay, we have the internet that will charge you for an access. But a little bit like cable TV subscription, they're going to say, oh, well, YouTube isn't included in our package of internet. YouTube is an extra. Why? Because a video takes a lot of data and costs us more bandwidth and so on. So that becomes dangerous because it means that now some companies might actually be disadvantaged by that. Now, big companies like YouTube or Netflix will probably, because they are big and giants, they will be able to say to internet service providers, okay, what about if I give you $50 million a year, and in exchange, we are part of the deal of internet access. So they will make sure that when we are on the internet, we have access to them. But think about a startup that decides, hey, I want to start a streaming video of cats. There will be a specialized network of cat video, streaming live cat video stuff, which would be nightmare. It would be cute. That startup with no money, well, the internet service provider is going to say, well, yeah, but you're sending out video, and video costs us bandwidth, so unless you pay us, we'll have to, say to everybody, well, that streaming cat platform, we'll have to, have it as something that people will need to pay extra for. So that's very dangerous because that means that suddenly it's messing up what's equal, what's fair, and not everybody will have the same access, and not everybody in the world will have the same access to the same content, and that is very dangerous. For a long time, and since the beginning of the internet, for many years, talking about for a long time, we didn't even think about it. For a long time, the first years of the internet, it's cool, we have an internet access and we go and we watch everything everywhere. But the problem is, as we get through with more content, with video and all sorts of stuff, thinking, for example, that Netflix, in some of the periods of high usage, Netflix is like 70% of all the internet traffic for some countries. That's a lot. So, things like that weren't there at the beginning of the internet. And now companies or internet service providers are just saying, well, okay, we want to charge more for that, or ask companies that use more of our network to pay for access. So it's getting complicated, and the future of net neutrality isn't very bright right now. In the United States, it was looking good in the United States because this year several FCC decisions were great, trying to push back to net neutrality. We are going to net neutrality, and we will enforce net neutrality. And of course, the big companies like Comcast, for example, they didn't like that. And Comcast is one of those companies that was happy that Trump becomes president because, hey, he's gonna put it back like we want, and just basically we'll have no problem at all. Everybody's gonna have their different little website and do whatever they want and charge for this or that, and it's like the internet service providers in the United States are getting their own way now. And especially in 2017, it's going to be interesting to see what exactly is happening. And then, you know what? That's dangerous. And many countries around the world are in a state where net neutrality is kind of in danger right now. Here in Canada, right now, there's not a lot of talk about this. And we're getting to a point where it seems that maybe our own FCC equivalent doesn't want to interfere much with the internet. But for now, everything is equal apparently. But will it change? Can it be changed in the future? That's going to be interesting to see. And right now, we're at a point where the future doesn't look that fantastic. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with net neutrality in the future. But we're kind of a little gray cloud right now. Let's hope that blue skies are behind it, because net neutrality, I think, is important. It's important also for startups. It's important for everybody. I don't want to have an internet service provider that tells me, well, it's $50 a month for the internet plus $10 for YouTube and $10 extra for Netflix. That would be crazy. And I think that for now is still a little far away, because a lot of people are going to say, whoa, wait a minute. You're charging me more for YouTube? And let's hope that competition brings down that to, no, everything is included on the internet and that's it. Okay, what else do we have here? What else do we have here? What else do we have here? I'm gonna try not to mention that name too much. It does make some people a little queasy, I gotta say. Okay, what else do we have here? As for the user Chip Catalano talking about Intel drivers, all I'm gonna say is that's more of an Intel issue than a Windows problem, probably. I've got 6 or 7 computers here on Windows 10. None of them is having any issues. And on my own clients, when I look at it, I still say it. Pretty much every client I have that I've upgraded to anniversary update, nobody has any issues. So I do not, I still don't believe that Windows 10 anniversary update has an issue now. It had a few issues at the beginning when it got into the world. But with the cumulative updates that we've had, pretty much everything is fixed, and there's not that much of an issue. Problem is, a lot of the issues that sometimes Windows can have is in the mix of hardware and software installed. That's kind of complex. But it depends on a lot of things. I don't know. For sure some people have issues, but really weird. Okay, what else do we have here? Android questions from our friend. Let me just check the email here. I lost the page. Okay. So if we look at Android questions coming from Zachary. Zachary is in British Columbia, Canada. And the questions that he's got are, He's got a Kobe tablet that he bought at a Canadian store, not to mention Canadian Tires. And it's running Android 4.4 KitKat. So he's wondering, first of all, with all the news that he's heard and also the news that he's seen on my news bulletin, what is it safe to run KitKat 4.4 right now? There's maybe one or two issues with KitKat on security side, because I know that some of the updates that fix some of the Android flaws are going only to Lollipop version 5. That means 4.4 might have a few issues in security. So be careful what you do with your tablet. The other thing that you wanted to know is, it doesn't seem that the company, Kobe, is updating or doing anything, because you checked for updates in the system. So you're wondering, is it possible to run the tablet to Lollipop version 5? Now, you gave me a model number that I did look into with Google, and it seems you're going to have to be stuck at 4.4. So it also means that you might want to be careful when you're on the internet, and maybe think about buying a new tablet. You know, it's sad. That's one of the sad things about Android, is that a lot of old Android stuff is unfortunately unable to update, and that is an issue with Android that I find sad. And the lifetime of each Android version isn't that long, so just be careful. But maybe turn your Kobe tablet into some kind of book reader or something. Or, ebooks is going to be great for that. And maybe think into something else that has a more recent Android version. And one of the things also is for people, any people that has an Android or wants to buy an Android tablet, I would say just make sure that when you buy it, it's already at the the latest Android version possible. Because unfortunately, for example, a great example of this will be this Black Friday, that people are going to jump on cheap tablets and going to say, hey, that tablet's only $69. And they're going to get home and they're going to have Android 4 or Android 5 in it. And that's the reason why it was $69. And so it's not always a good deal. It's better sometimes to buy a tablet that's a recent version that's a little more expensive, but at least it will have Android 6, at least 6. We are at version 7 right now. So, something as soon as possible. And also, brands that are well known. If you buy a Kobe tablet, yeah, we see Kobe here and there, but it's not a brand that I would recommend in buying a tablet usually. Like all these weird named brands on tablets also. And sorry. As for the good brands, what's also interesting, like if you buy a Samsung tablet that has a version 6 Marshmallow, well, you can almost be guaranteed that eventually in next year sometime you'll have an update and it's going to bring it to Nougat version 7. So that's also something to check for. Now you've got an issue also with Samsung Galaxy S7 since the last update that you had last week. And you say that your Galaxy S7 resets randomly. You know what? I had that issue also on that last update. My Samsung Galaxy S7 would, I installed an app that told me basically, because at some point I noticed that it was always on the screen. And it's like, okay, when it does that, usually it's because it's updated itself. And now every day it was on the plain screen, and I was like, what is that? So basically Mine, I installed an app, I'm trying to remember the name, that actually told me how many times it would reset. And it would reset like 7 or 8 or 10 times a day, according to that app. So I started looking into it, and I noticed that if I took out the SD card, it wasn't resetting anymore. So if you have an SD card in your S7, take it out, reformat it on a PC, and put it back in. That's what I did. And my resets completely stopped. It's the only thing, basically, that's the problem. It seems that it's the SD card that's causing resets, and a lot of forums I've seen with the Galaxy S7 seems to say that. And what else do you see? Well, you're talking about another Android tablet that you have. The file system does not see the SD card. Once again, that's an issue that is very, very often a problem in Android. It's a little bit like a PC. What's happening on the Android SD card readers is that while you're using it, the SD card is visible, and of course you can unmount the SD card. But if your tablet crashed, or if for some reason you reset the tablet in some ways, it was maybe smack in the middle of doing a write or something like that in the SD card, so your SD card file system is broken. So what you need to do, if you cannot see the SD card on your tablet, remove it from the tablet, put it on a PC or a device that you can reformat it. And then from there, you will probably have it working again. It's something that happens regularly on Android. So just, make sure that you take the SD card, put it somewhere on your PC and format it with your PC. Put it back inside your device, should be detected. You can format it with your Android device if you want after that. And good luck with your little problems here. A few random questions here that we have also. And these are from Robert also in Canada, in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So the question that he has is, first of all, he wants to know the future of Windows. He says that he follows the tech industry a lot, and that one of the things that he has noticed is that since Windows is less and less important for Microsoft, do you think they could eventually stop making Windows? First question. Yeah, they could, of course, but it's not in their plans right now, and it's still racking in enough billions of dollars that they still are going to continue. But it is also the reason why they're not really investing efforts in a new version of Windows that will have a different numbering, like Windows 11 or something like that. But yes, maybe someday we could get to a point where it's going to be something that Microsoft doesn't see why they should continue. But for now, it's like, years and years of Windows. We're still going to have some Windows in 2020, I can tell you that. The second question that you've got is about your Windows laptop. You say that when you turn on your Apple TV, your Windows laptop loses Wi-Fi, and you're trying to figure out a way to prevent this, but you're going crazy. I can bet you that you have a Apple TV third generation. It is a very common issue on Apple TVs of the third generation. They interact with the router in a way that they sometimes knock off something out from the connection or mess up the connection itself. In my case, my Apple TV didn't knock off my computers from the network, but my internal network where I would share printers and files would stop working when the Apple TV was turned on, which made me actually do one thing, is that now my Apple TV is connected in such a way that I can actually turn off the power to my Apple TV when I'm not using it, because it's such a nuisance on my network. But it's a known issue, It's something that Apple knows for ages. They've tried to update the firmware of the Apple TV to fix the issue. They never did. So it's a known problem. It's a known problem for the Apple TV. And finally, you're saying, what are good router brands? What are routers that I would buy personally? You know, the most important thing that I would say about routers is, first of all, not to buy cheap routers. People buy $40 routers, and well, $40 routers are not always good for range, or not always good when you have more than one device. It's not always, perfect. So a more expensive router usually gives you a little more. It's also, a good brand or a known brand router like Netgear or Linksys or Asus. Something that is a known brand will also give you more mileage very often, because they have regular updates of the firmware, and sometimes can even add things to the router that wasn't there before, thanks to just a firmware upgrade. And one of the things that I would say that is very important is, especially in the routers, one of the things that's very important, if you want to have good range, don't buy those routers that don't have any antennas. The antenna is sticking out for a reason. Yes, most people will tell me they're ugly, but the antennas sticking out are making the router work better if you are far away. So, buy routers that have antennas that stick out. Or at least if they don't stick out, it's made in a way that it works and gives you a lot of range, even if the antennas are not sticking out. Okay, Windows 10 questions. What else do we have here? In other questions, we have questions about Windows 10 that are coming along from the first question that comes to me from let me just check here. Okay, Timothy. Timothy F. First of all, is a new viewer to the show and says that he loves it. He always watches the rerun after the show, because he's working at the time that it's live, and finds it really interesting. The question that he's got is, can he upgrade his Windows 7 computer for free now? The last time that I checked, I don't know if it's now still working. Last time that I checked was about 2 weeks ago, but now I've not found, I don't have any keys to try it. I don't have any ways to know. 2 weeks ago, it seemed that the upgrade using the Windows 7 key still worked for free. If you want to try it, you can, but if it might not be the case anymore. So if you do it and it says, sorry, you got to activate Windows, that means that it doesn't work anymore. So I don't know. I'm not sure. 2 weeks ago is the last time that I knew it was still working, but it could be, it could be that it's not working anymore, for sure. And you say that one of your PCs that is not running Antivirus update ran into an issue where the start menu doesn't pop up and you can't click on the icons in the taskbar. That is a very, very, very that's a well-known issue of the version 15.11, November of last year. It for some PCs only, some people only, and most of them that have that issue have upgraded their Windows 7 PC to Windows 10. It doesn't happen on PCs that were clean installed with Windows 10. It seems to be some kind of issue when somebody upgrades from Windows 7 to Windows 10. Start menu doesn't work anymore, so you click on it, nothing happens. Taskbar icons freeze. But if you right-click the Start button, you do still have the menu start that's there. The only fix, the real good fix, okay, reinstall Windows 10 by doing a refresh or reset, but by removing everything. Don't do a reset that keeps everything. You're gonna have this come back eventually. Another thing, you say that you're still on the November update. You can wait a little bit, and if the anniversary update shows up, it might also fix the issue. But that I can't say for sure. I haven't seen anybody upgrade with that issue, and it came back to normal. And finally, you also have a question about the anniversary update on another PC that you say it's, it works fine, except that you're wondering why it removed Classic Shell. That's what you were using on your PC, and you say, is Classic Shell not good anymore on Windows 10? Yes, anniversary update removes Classic Shell because Classic Shell is not compatible in the version that was available for Windows 10 before the anniversary update. So when they updated, they removed the Classic Shell side because it would cause issues in Windows 10 anniversary update. Yes, you can still reinstall Classic Shell. You just have to go and get the latest version of Classic Shell and reinstall it, and it's gonna work fine. And you're gonna have your, Windows 7-like menus if you want on your Windows 10 operating system. So it shouldn't be a problem at all. Some questions of a few people. There's one, first there's observations and also kind of a question about, there's Ismail that wants me to talk a little bit about Chromebooks. Stephen Mail, that's looking at a specific Chromebook that he gave me all the information. So that looks quite interesting and looks a very, very, very nice device. So if you ever get it, let me know what you think. It seems to be a very nice Chromebook, I gotta say, and that's pretty good system for what's in here. So an Acer CB5 571C09S Chromebook. So looks quite nice. So if you buy this, I think you would have a nice Chromebook for sure. He's also talking about experience on Windows Vista with only 1 GB of RAM, and yeah, it is unfortunately very, very small amount of memory for Windows Vista. So I'm pretty sure pretty sure that it's having a lot of issues with such low RAM, and that's why you say you're looking for alternatives for either a tablet and or some touch device. Yes, I have used USB to Ethernet. I had a few devices that didn't have Ethernet jacks, and I had used USB to Ethernet. Usually works well. So if you ever need to use a USB to Ethernet adapter, in general works fine, and USB is fast enough for an internet connection. So in general, it's okay. And as for your draft folder not syncing in Mail, you know what? I almost never use the Mail app in Windows 10. I am almost only always using online. Even now as I read you guys' emails, I don't use Mail app. I'm reading your emails directly through the Gmail interface on the web browser. I almost never use any type of mail software like Mail in Windows or Outlook Mail in Microsoft Office or stuff like that. I don't like using the software to have mail. Yes, there's of course a good advantage to it, because if you have several inboxes, several email addresses, everything comes into the same the one software, and that's it, and that's cool. But I don't use it a lot, and the only side of Mail that I use actually is just a calendar. It's all that I use, because I do find that the calendar app it's pretty nice and it works fine. So, yeah, it is possible that there are some issues in synchronization, but from my usage of mail, or the few usage of mail that I have, I don't, I haven't seen too many problems personally. That's pretty much what I gotta say. And also a few questions that I got here and there of people asking me, like thinking of getting a Chromebook, and they're wondering, is it a good choice and everything. Some questions like, can I install Windows software on a Chromebook? And some are interested because there are very cheap Chromebooks out there. Some are barely $100 or more. So my take is that, a Chromebook is a nice device, and Chromebooks have an advantage of they're simple in the way that they work. So they are usually, they usually have less of a problem than having, a PC with a full big version of Windows on it and stuff like that. I think for a lot of people, Chromebooks can be more than enough to do pretty much what they want. So if people ask me, do you think getting a Chromebook is a good idea? Yes, it might be a good idea. I have no problem with that. I don't have a Chromebook myself, but I have used from some of my clients or some people that I know and played around in some of the Chromebooks just to get the feel of it and how it works. Looks, it's pretty cool. No, you will not be able to install software that is made for Windows in a Chromebook because it doesn't run Windows. Windows software are only for Windows. So that might be the only thing that prevents somebody from getting a Chromebook, because that if you have a specific software that you have in Windows, well, it's not going to work in a Chromebook. So that might mean you have to buy a Windows machine. But if you're not, if you don't, use anything like that, I think there's no problem. If you don't have a specific software you need, Chromebook will be fine. As for the cheap Chromebooks, some of them are okay. Just think about a cheap Chromebook a little bit like a cheap laptop. The less you'll pay for it, the less you have specs. So a cheap Chromebook will sometimes have only 16 gigabytes of SSD or a hard drive, which is not a lot, which means you might run out of space easily. Cheaper Chromebooks, of course, have specs that make them a little more sluggish. They're not as fast as Chromebooks that are more expensive because they have better processors and more memory and have bigger, of course, hard drives. So be careful in your choice of a cheap Chromebook. I think that's mostly what's important in choosing a Chromebook. If you're about to buy a Chromebook, buy something that has a minimum of specs that, even though will be a little more expensive, will at least give you a little more power. It's like a laptop. I've got several laptops here. Some of them are of low grade specs. Of the laptops that I got here, I've got 3 that I bought myself, and the rest are laptops that were given to me in diverse broken modes from clients that I fixed, and they work. But for example, the PC that's running on this TV is a laptop from a client that she had bought that laptop at approximately the same time that I have the laptop that I use right now in making these shows. But the difference, just to give you an idea, she bought a Toshiba, mine is a Toshiba also, but she bought a Core i3 Toshiba that was, I believe she paid something like $339 or something like that. To give you an idea, my laptop is a Core i5, and I paid $1,000 for my Toshiba laptop. And to give you an idea is that even from the start and just now, every time I use my laptop and I use this laptop, I can see that this laptop is a hell of a slow machine. And I do find that my Toshiba laptop, which is a better grade in many aspects with the different parts, is much faster. and it shows that it's much faster. Actually, I'm testing something called Microsoft, the Worldwide Telescope software. I installed it here, and it takes an eternity to just turn on, and then every time you want to do something, it's super slow. On my laptop, it's almost instantaneous that it starts up, and everything that I ask is, really smooth and working well. So, that's the same for a Chromebook. Remember that a Chromebook, the more expensive it will be, the more powerful it will be in general, and the faster it will do what you want to do. It's sometimes better to invest in a more expensive machine that you'll have many years than in a cheap machine that after just a few years you're gonna it's so sluggish that you're just gonna want to change with something else. So just just be careful of the price that you pay. For example, here Stephen Mail's Acer Chromebook that he sends me is a pretty powerful one. It's a good Acer machine. So that one will not be sluggish compared to a cheap $99 Chromebook, for example. So all of that has to be taken into an account here, when you're buying. So basically, that's what we have. Okay, you're watching the Live Tech Show. We are located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles, and of course, if you want to help, donations are welcome. Patreon.com/radioandcomputers is a great place. PayPal donations one time to my Yahoo email address are, of course, also welcome. I'll just read a little email that I've received today from Tim Robinson, and share a little bit of my comments on all of that. Tim sent me an email today. So he's talking about his experience with the NVIDIA drivers that have been updating lately. And yes, there have been a lot of updates for NVIDIA cards lately. So you said that a while back you ignore, if you ignore the update once GeForce Experience program notifies him about the update, his PC will soon be unable to shut down properly. Display and everything will close, but the PC stays powered up, and I have to hold the power button for seconds. I found that when I update the driver, my power down problem disappears. Strange. Well, you know what? I think it's your notification. It's because you have your settings in that in the software for NVIDIA are set to check for updates, and I think that what's happening is that not the driver is the problem, but that notification of your GeForce Experience changes something in that, and it creates a problem. It looks like that's the problem, not the update itself. Whoops. I don't know, I've just pressed too many things. So we'll go into back up to the questions. So why not go here to hello to the chat, because we're going to ask a question soon. You also say that while your wife was playing on your PC Facebook games, she left it open, and it was a display that this PC has been blocked, you must contact MS support, and there was a number and everything. And she said that she was really locked out of the PC and hit the reset button. And you did a virus scan, malware scan, checked the system integrity, checked everything. Nothing has been found. And so, that's from the website. So that means that the website that she was playing that game must have some kind of issue. The only thing I would see here is that the website of that game, because if she's playing the game, even if it's Facebook and she's playing a game, remember one thing is that the game is from another site. It's not from Facebook website. And if that other site was compromised somehow, that's something that can happen. So it's probably just, I would say it's probably just because she was on a website that had that issue. One thing also, make sure you have the latest version of the browser, and make sure that you don't have any add-ons that look weird that could be there. But apart from that, I'm pretty sure is that the game site probably has an issue, some kind of it's compromised somehow. That's why you don't see any anything. So interesting to see what happens and how it works. So it's basically all of these things happened, and these pages with those pop-ups of, hey, you've got a problem in your I can tell you that. Yeah. Well, the only reason why Edge opened is because it's probably set as the default somehow in some of the aspects of your computer. Because in Windows 10, there's something weird that happens. In Windows 10, even though you set Chrome or Internet Explorer or that as your main browser and as your default, sometimes Edge still stays the default in sometimes. So you know what? Something happened, and when it wanted to open that page, it opened it with Edge. That's all that happened, but I don't know. This is really something. Okay, so but I don't think there was a. I don't think there was an issue. Probably just a compromised website. An email that says, my Internet Explorer keeps getting script errors. How can I fix it? If you're getting script errors all the time on your Internet Explorer browser, you are somehow infected with something. It's 90% of the time infections. What you need to do is get yourself a Malwarebytes, in-time malware, or something like that. Scan your PC with different tools that will scan for viruses or malware. Because there are no reasons for script errors ever on a Internet Explorer browser unless a specific page does that. But if you get them all the time when you're going on the web, you're infected, or there's a setting that's been changed. Scan your machine for infection. I'm pretty sure that's what you have. Make sure that you don't have anything bad installed. Grateful Throws tells this an understatement, Jean. There's a lot of weird stuff in Windows 10. But there's always some weird stuff from the start on Windows 10. We got to say that there are some weird things that do that even from the first day Windows 10 appeared on our machines. Hey, hello everybody in the chat room. Tim Robinson, Grateful Pearls, Patrick Manny. What do we have? Stephen Mail. We have Bobby Burgess. We have. Just go quickly. I'm sorry if I miss out on your name. What else do we have here? Marcelo Piccirillo, something like that. What else do we have? I saw let's just check. Christine Bowman, nice to have Bowman. Sorry, Christine Bowman, nice to have you here. Everybody's there. Jay Ross. If you buy a tablet for $30, you won't be able to install Android Nougat. I can tell you that. It won't install on that. Pretty sure. And so everybody, hey, nice to have you, Chip Catalano. Nice to have you there. What else do we have here? Solmaster 12356. Yeah, Malwarebytes sees things that AVG does not see. You gotta be each software finds its own little things, and for one of the things that's very, very, very peculiar with this also is what each software thinks is malware. That's also something that you need to know. Malwarebytes will classify as malware stuff that AVG will not classify as malware. It all depends on the level that the company's list puts it. So for some it's malware, for some it's not. That's why Malwarebytes will see stuff that AVG does not. It's not always, it's not as simple as that. That why doesn't this find something when the other does, and so on. So it's a little sad here, basically. But that's kind of the way that it works, basically. I want to know, as today's question for all of you in the chat room, how many of you have, apart from a PC, a tablet, an iPad, or an Android tablet of some sort? Who has a tablet and just, apart from their PCs and their general computers? Just out of the question. Mrs. Lady Catherine, nice to have you on board, says she's got both. So Stephen Mel has only desktops and laptops, so no tablet. And Tim Robinson, I believe, has the only tablet that he had is now gone. So personally, I own a Android tablet, a very old Android tablet with Android 2.3. I own a iPad, first and second generation, basically. Bobby Burgess has only Chromebooks, and Tim Robinson says, I had and found the tablet along with the Windows Phone became obsolete and unused. Christine Bowman has 2 iPads, Kindles, and 2 laptops. So that's a connected person. Cool. And Kindles are great for reading books. The ebooks are amazing. They're some of the best. Grapple Pearls as a PC, Android Tab E, and a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Albert Zappa is having tequila. It's not a tablet, but it's good. You know what? I don't like tequila usually. And a friend of mine went to Mexico and brought back a really special tequila bottle. And last year at Christmas, he said, hey, you want to have some tequila? And I was like, oh man, I don't like tequila. He said, that's because you haven't tried the good tequila. And don't ask me the name, I don't remember, but I took one shot with him, and I was like, wow, this tequila is actually, yes, much better tasting than all the tequila I've ever had in my life. And anyways, basically ended up Christmas pretty drunk. That's mostly the rest of the story. But I was surprised. I was surprised at how good that tequila tasted compared to what I had tasted in the past. Bobby Burgess says, oh, he used to have a Dell Venue 8 Pro in a Samsung tablet. Peter Sargent says, yes, Acer tablet and Toshiba laptop. Pretty cool. Jim Malley has a Nexus 7. That's cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Albert Zappa has a MacBook Pro 13-inch. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So it's nice to have a little interaction with all of you out there in the chat. It's really cool to be here, having this live show every week. And let me just check out here. What else do we have? Okay, so if we continue on the question side, this is a fill-in slide, and it's a question that I get asked so regularly that I thought, you know what, let's talk about it. So just to mention, the last time that I've received this question was about 10 days ago from Isabel. And in the past, I've received this so often, especially when I had created that page, a Facebook page where people could join with the tech show and the tech Windows channel. And so the question that's always coming back very regularly: do I trust Facebook with personal information? Facebook makes money in a very specific way. It makes money with all the information and everything it knows about you. Do you trust Facebook with your personal information? It's about like saying, do we trust our credit card companies with all the information they have about us? Do we trust Facebook? Do I trust? I always say there's no harm, even though it's illegal through the Facebook license agreement. There's no harm in lying a little bit in your Facebook profile. So, often I will tell people, it's like, don't necessarily give them too much detail, like your, real birth of date or stuff like that, usually, some people, because what happens, some people tell me sometimes, I had a client a few months ago. She said, well, I don't want to put my real face in the picture on Facebook. My answer to that was, well, if you want your friends to find you, it's like a good idea to have your real face, because they will know that it's you, not be sure that it's you. Basically, Albert Zappa says, got me hooked up to a 60-inch, so better smile. Hope you like the smile. That's so scary. Every time somebody tells me, hey, you're on my 50-inch TV or 60-inch TV, it's kind of scary. So, there are things that, I don't see why it's a problem for you to have I can't see a problem in Facebook if you have your real picture, for example, stuff like that. But in the general details of your account, you don't have to answer everything. You don't have to tell them which school you went to. You don't have to tell them, a lot of people, I'm surprised at how many people are actually, are responding or answering everything. And you look at their profiles, it's like, wow, you've filled up everything in that profile. And that's scary. It's a company somewhere that I don't know, not too much. I'm not one of those that's scared of Facebook. I do see, there's two types of population: the Facebook population and the non-Facebook population that's scared of Facebook. And I'm not scared of Facebook. I just be careful what you say and what you decide that you want everybody to know about you. That's pretty much what I would say. And there's no bad side in just lying a little bit. Another question that I have very often, a lot of people tell me, well, I've got a virus, and I see it in my clients. People tell me, I got a virus through Facebook. It really seems that Facebook has a problem and is hacked somewhere. And that's one of the major ideas behind a lot of people. Facebook must be hacked. And somehow people can't believe that their best friends or their family got hacked. It has to be Facebook that got hacked. And I always tell them, nope, Facebook has not been hacked. Every time you get something from someone that is a virus, that is a link, that is something that's weird, that's because your friend or your family member is not using a good password and is not good with security. It could also be that it's, the PC that the person is using is infected, and so the password's been stolen through, keyloggers and stuff like that. Unfortunately, that's 99.9% of the way that people get their accounts hacked. And it is sad, but people are careless. A lot of people are careless about passwords and security. Don't use a password just because it's easy. It's not good security. It's so important to have a good password. And in Facebook, like many websites that deal with a lot of personal stuff, if you've got a smartphone, or even if you got just a little cell phone, turn on two-factor authentication. Make sure that if somebody tries to log in from another computer, make sure that your two-factor authentication is there, so that you'll receive a secret code. For example, my Twitter account, there's some stupid dumbass somewhere that is trying to get into my Twitter account at least 5 or 6 times a day. Sometimes I'm quiet, but sometimes my phone will I'll receive text messages, and it says, well, okay, this is your secret code for Twitter. That means somebody somewhere is just trying to get into some of my accounts. But I'm the tech guy, so all my accounts are two-factor authentication. Anybody that tries any of my accounts will just get to a page with what's your secret code, and you'll go nowhere, basically. And I also set up a few things, for example, on Gmail and on Hotmail, I always check the log of which IP address are trying to log in illegally to my account, so that if I see an IP, because some people that try that are just dumb. They just try it out of their own computers at home. And you got to be careful, because an IP address tells me exactly where you are in the world. So, if there's any issues, don't think that you're secure behind the screen. It's not the case at all. And as for login security, a lot of people as for login security, what the people are asking me very often is, what's the best security for Facebook or any account whatsoever? Very, very good passwords that you will not use the same anywhere else. And the best for login security, that is probably your best friend right now, two-factor authentication, which means if Facebook were, because one thing you got to remember, okay? I said Facebook is not been hacked. I did not say Facebook cannot be hacked. Think of every website that you go to that you have to fill up a form or get a login credential, username and password. Think of every website that you go to that one day they'll be hacked into. And your best friend that day, when they get hacked, is two-factor authentication. Because, they'll have your username, they'll have your password, but they still can't log in without that two-factor authentication that's there. So, two-factor authentication pretty much, breaks any hacking that people would do. If everybody would be right now on two-factor authentication, well, a lot of the hacking that we talk about every week in my tech news, for example, would be useless. Because, well, okay, I got your username and your password, but I still can't log in because I need your secret code that's on your phone. basically. So, that's mostly the best security that you can have. So, and for those that don't know, yes, I do have a Twitter account for my radio stuff, where I don't know if I check it. I haven't checked in a long time. If I look at my Twitter account for my radio stuff, for those that want to join in, it's rather boring because it's mostly radio stuff, but it's at Shortwave Radios. And if I look at my Twitter account, I am followed by 444 people, and I follow 75 people. So that's pretty much my radio account, which is at Shortwave Radios. And it's really for shortwave news in my case, and news of live shows and all sorts of things that are related to radio. So some days I'll log in and post all sorts of news and all sorts of stuff. Sometimes I won't post for a few days. It depends on my mood and what I'm doing. And Tim Robinson says, speaking of two-factor authentication, I had to do that today because my Yahoo Mail said I was logging in on a new machine. It is my main machine. Wife's Yahoo account did the same. Huh. Interesting. Grateful Pearl says she uses Twitter for the sports stuff. Yeah, Twitter is good if you like some. That's the major thing. A lot of people don't understand Twitter a lot. Twitter is cool if you're interested in something in particular. So for sports, it's great. In my case, following tech journalists, following radio stuff because I have my radio channels. Some also a lot, my 444 people follow me because I often post news about things that are happening in radio, or if I'm listening to, I don't know, a pirate radio station, I'll post it there. So when you're interested in a specific subject, you got tons of people on Twitter that you can follow that will give you a lot of news on what's happening. And actually, most of the news we see today come from journalists from Twitter. So you're actually more up to date on today's news on Twitter than it is on the regular news, basically. So Patrick Manny says Trump rants. Well, yeah, he's good at that. Yeah, Yahoo. Yeah. As long as you change your password in Yahoo, and of course, even better if you have two-factor authentication, it's even better. The breach was in 2012, so if you've changed your password, it should be okay. But yes, if you can, Yahoo should lose all its users because of one major issue, being that for 3 years or 2 years and a half, they didn't say anything, and they knew that we had, their accounts had been breached. And that is, in my sense, the dumbest move, the most careless act I've ever seen from a company. That you get hacked into and you don't say a thing for 2 years. I'm sorry, but if everybody ditches Yahoo tomorrow morning, well, I'm sorry, but you asked for it. You asked for it because you're just too stupid with security. I can tell you that. You know what? I'm on Yahoo and I can't. The only reason I still am on Yahoo is I can't not be. For several things. I can't remove myself from Yahoo because I have too many things that are linked to my Yahoo account, and also because I follow people on, Yahoo has one feature that is cool is the Yahoo groups. And you got to be a Yahoo member in order for you to follow Yahoo groups. Unfortunately, my radio stuff, there's a lot of Yahoo groups related to radio. And that's why I just can't remove myself from Yahoo, unfortunately. But, we haven't heard much lately, but the last news that I had a few weeks ago was that Verizon was now thinking of completely removing itself from the deal, that 3.8 billion deal of buying Yahoo. Verizon doesn't want it anymore. And I understand. So from what I know, it's like this is gone. No more Verizon deal. And man, I do understand. Why pay 3.8 billion for a company that now just screwed everybody on its network? So it's sad, but they had it coming. I can tell you that. I think the best thing that a company can do when they are breached is to be really fair and open and say, look, we got breached today. Send an email to everybody and tell them, look, we got breached today. It's better if you change your password. If we don't want that, and we don't want to hear that, because if they got breached, we're wondering what happened and where did it happen. But at least, if my, Gmail accounts, for example, would be breached, and Google would tomorrow morning tell me, hey, we got a breach yesterday, please change your password. It's not something you want to know or hear, but it's something that you want them to tell you as soon as possible. And if they tell you immediately, it's like, at least they're telling everybody, look, change your password, it's going to be better. Offer them $10, Jean. And now, Yahoo has been bought by a small Montreal company called Atelier Informatique. And a deal worth $3.5. It's now, Yahoo is now owned by Gilles. I like that. They're still making a few $1 billion profit a year. If I get a few $1 billion profit a year, I'm buying your favorite computer to everybody in the chat room. With a few $1 billion of profit, I'd be happy to do so. The Chromebook for now does not need a. Stephen Mel asked a great question. Gilou. Instead of Yahoo, Gilou. That would be nice. And the logo would change to the face of my little cat. Everybody would like to see that. So great question, of course, by Stephen Mail about does a Chromebook need a virus protection? Not for now. And the reason I'm saying not for now, it's like the Macs. A MacBook technically does not really require, still in 2016, virus protection. I see a lot of stores that try to sell virus protection to people, and basically the virus protection is kind of useless. There's not enough viruses. There are viruses for Macs, but there's not enough viruses, and the way that Mac handles the few viruses that exist, it's pretty good right now. And a Chromebook, well, not for now. Also, for the simple reason that for now, the number of viruses for Chromebooks is not non-existent. I've heard from a few, but it's not a problem for now. It doesn't mean that eventually it is not possible, because it will all, viruses, it's very simple. Viruses go with the fact that of the popularity of a platform. And the reason Windows is a problem is it's because of its dominance. You know, why does Windows, why is Windows attacked so much with viruses? It's simply because it's dominant and it's at 90% of all the computers around the world. And the only reason the Mac computer is safer has nothing to do with security. I hear that all the time from Mac fans. Oh yeah, well, I'm secure. I got a Mac. It's so secure. It's not more secure than a PC. I'm sorry. Your MacBook and Mac OS is not more secure than Windows for viruses. This is false information that everybody's just talking about. The only reason why it's more secure is because it's barely 10% of all the computers around the world. It's like 8%. So if you write a virus, where you're going to write it for who? You're going to write it for the mass market. Hey, I'm going to hit Windows because I'm getting 90% of the market potentially. Where if I hit Macs, I'm just hitting 8% of the market. Still, there are some viruses. There are a few of them. And Chromebooks, the future of Chromebooks is that the more Chromebooks there will be. If, for example, Chromebooks could rise to 25% of all the computers suddenly, well, I would think that, yes, antivirus solutions will start showing up really, because as you're getting more popular, people will look into how to infect your Chromebook. That's for sure. Well, Chrome and Chrome OS is different for two things. Chrome is your browser. Chrome OS is the operating system. Chrome OS is an operating system that basically runs in Chromebooks. It's a very modified. It's not Android. It's a very modified version of Android, and so it's not. It doesn't have compatibility with each other, but it is close enough that recently more and more apps from Android can run in the Chrome OS. And so they have the Chrome, the Google Play Store, basically for apps. But Chrome OS really is a unique operating system. And the latest versions of Chrome OS on the Chromebooks will have, because that's something that they wanted to have, the possibility to get the Google Play Store and run apps that were made for Android at some point. And there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen between Chrome OS and Android, because what's being seen here is that Chrome OS, Android, Google now is like playing with two systems. And a lot of analysts think that at some point they're going to announce that phones made by Google will run Chrome OS and not Android anymore. And that Android will be that thing that other companies use, like Samsung, for example, or other companies. And they think that Chrome OS will become the main OS for Google, and that Android will move on to its own destiny with other companies. So that's possible. That's possible. So, but it's an operating system. I can tell you that. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like Linux, like Tim Robinson says, Linux used to both viruses free too. They didn't realize it's because of the percentages. It is always that, nobody will tell me that any type of operating system is fine or free of virus possibilities. It does not exist. And it all has to do with how big your market share is. And basically the market share, the bigger the market share, sorry, my phone is ringing. The bigger the market share, basically the bigger the chances that you'll have possibilities of being infected. But that said, I often hear at the other side, even from my clients, wow, Windows is so bad with viruses. And I always answer back, Windows is actually pretty secure. It's actually very secure. If you count on the fact that there are literally thousands of new viruses for Windows every week, and I'm not joking, thousands of new viruses every week are made for Windows. You can run your Windows operating system as long as it's up to date with the latest patches without an antivirus. Go on the web, and if you know what you're doing, you're careful with what you do, where you go, you know what? I can bet you can spend a full month without an antivirus and you will not have one virus on your PC. It is amazingly secure, and partly also because, you know what, it's attacked so much that Windows has also found ways to kind of protect itself of different styles of attacks that were plaguing Windows in Windows XP, for example. As time goes on, there's a lot of the innards of Windows that's been really tweaked. There's some sandboxing and stuff like that that prevents the core of get infected easily. And even if you're touching the surface of a virus, you're not necessarily getting infected. It has to be a little more than that. And pretty much all the clients that I have that have Macs that got infected, because yes, I did fix Mac computers with viruses several times, but they all share a common thing. And the common thing is that every Mac user that was infected did the same maneuvers, the same thing that a PC person that got infected did. They either didn't update their operating system, so they had security issues. They went on a website and clicked on something they should have never clicked. It's always exactly the same thing. And that's why I always tell everybody, you know what? If Macs were 50% of the market, PCs 50%, well, I'm sorry, but as many Mac users would click on that, oh, you got to upgrade your Adobe Flash player because it's not updated correctly, as PC users. Mac users have the same habits, are not more aware of anything. I would say they might even get more infected because they are so unaware of the problems that they might even click more easily on some of these catches because they weren't ever prepared and they never were in a mode where Windows users are, where we are aware that on the internet there are dangers. So on Mac sides, people aren't aware of that because they're not confronted with that regularly. So, it all has to do with basically do with what you do. Just be careful on the internet. That's the best thing that you can do. I can tell you that. So, is there such a thing as a cross-platform virus? I've never seen one. A cross-platform virus, I've never seen one. Yes, in a sense, okay, and I'll tell you why yes in a sense. What I know what you mean, Tim, in mentioning cross-platform viruses. You mean the same code that would infect a PC can be used and infect a Mac or Linux or whatever machine. And a cross-platform virus of that kind would have to be created with several different codes because Windows codes runs on Windows but on nothing else. Mac OS code runs on Mac OS and nothing else. Android code runs on Android and nothing else. So each virus for each platform is unique in its code. So it would need to be a special virus made with several codes, and so that would detect your platform as you are going to be infected with it. But in a sense, yes, there is cross-platform virus, because there have been some viruses that do specific things that were created both for Mac and for PC. One very important one here, about I'd say 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, there was a virus that would change your internet settings. And that virus, a lot of people didn't even know they were infected. And that virus had a variant for Mac, a variant for PC. And what happened, and I got a lot of calls, internet service providers here in Canada knew that if they blocked a specific IP, all the people infected, that virus couldn't work anymore. But it also meant that all the people infected couldn't have access to the internet anymore. And when they did that, I got a ton of calls of people, saying, "Hey, I can't access the internet." And of course, I knew that starting that point, it was in effect. So I knew, okay, you're calling me about this. You got this virus. And I had a lot of calls from Macs, from people that had MacBooks, because people were calling me, and I was kind of surprised at that one. The amount of people with Macs that actually called me up that didn't have internet access. So there was a variant of the code that made this possible on both platforms, basically. And yes, I do have the photo scan app from Google Play Store to scan old paper photos. And I did try it quite a few times. It works really well. It works even when you use the flash, and the flash creates like a little spot on the picture. It removes it. It's pretty nice. Really a nice little app, I gotta say. And isn't too bad, I think that's also something of the future, basically. Getting into scanning all your old photos of your old album. I still have here a big album full of, like, there's 100 of family photos that date back to my grandma, like in the 1930s or something. So it's cool to take that. And by the way, Albert Zappa is saying I think most of the problem is when you visit adult sites. And Tim Robinson says another one is free games. This is also a statistic that's interesting. For many years, adult sites were the #1 places where people would get infected with viruses, and it's still a big thing. So, I still get regular calls from, "Hey, I went to see some naked ladies, and now my computer's locked up," or "Now I got tons of pop-ups." But lately, in the past year or so, free game websites are now more dangerous than porn sites in sending you viruses. So if you guys and girls love games, be very careful with free game websites. They are now the number one places where people get infected with viruses. So it gives you an idea here that really need to be careful. Question that just came in from Gregor in Slovenia that says, "Hello, Joel, since you talk about two-factor authentication as security measure on email or Facebook, I want to know if you think that Google Authenticator is better than authentication through SMS." Yes, in some way, and I do use Google Authenticator. But there's a very annoying side to Google Authenticator. And here's the thing. I love Google Authenticator because for those that don't know what that is, Google Authenticator is an app that you install. It's available both for iOS, iPhone, iPad, or for Android. Once you install that, when you do two-factor authentication in your websites, like Facebook, you have two ways. It will ask you, do you want me to send a text message to this number? Or it will ask you, you're using an app for authentication, which most of the time is Google Authenticator. Now, Google Authenticator is cool because you can have all of your websites in one app, meaning that when you actually check your Google Authenticator, it shows you a secret code for every website that you have authentication, two-factor authentication. It is more secure because SMS is insecure. So if you are in a place where you might think that somebody can or would be able to intercept somehow your text messages, Google Authenticator is more secure because it actually creates a code in a different way, and it's not a code that's being sent through somebody. It's a code that's generated, and so the Google Authenticator and the website in question both communicate the code together without you receiving it. You're just seeing it and generated through the app. And you know what? I like Google Authenticator for that, but it has one major issue that is extremely bothersome. Okay? Google Authenticator is linked to your phone. That means only your phone can receive Google Authenticator codes for your two-factor authentication. Once again, it's a good thing because it makes it secure. It means that somebody else with another phone cannot decide that he's going to try to get into your authenticator and stuff like that. But the problem is when you decide, I'm going to get that new smartphone. And that happened to me this year. When I got from my iPhone to the Galaxy S7, it's one hell of a hassle to have all of that working on your new phone. You technically have to install Authenticator. You have to go into two-factor Authenticator, install it with your old phone. Remove the two-factor authentication with the Google Authenticator, and then put it back on again with your new phone. And it's one hell of a problem. What is interesting is that this is changing. Two new ways of authentication are coming that is quite cool. And that one I enjoy. As long as in your phone you're logged in with one main account. So for example, if you use Gmail, what's really cool is that Gmail now has a way to ask you for authentication and not asking you for any code. What it does is that it's going to tell you, okay, this is Gmail. Do you have a phone that has also the Gmail account that is Android? For now, it's only Android, by the way. For now, it's only Android. But eventually, I would guess it will be iOS also eventually. But what's cool is that now my main Gmail account, the one that I use the most, that I linked everything else with, is my main account on my Galaxy S7 phone. What is cool is that now no more codes to enter. When I enter one of my Gmail accounts, the two-factor authentication rings a little sound on my phone. And what I have is a page that says, you just logged in to this account. Yes or no? No more codes to enter. That is fantastic. I love it. All you have to press is yes. And you're into your account. There's the same thing that is happening with Microsoft accounts. If you got an Outlook account or a Hotmail or whatever, there's the Microsoft Authenticator app in the Play Store for Android and for iOS. That is also the same type of thing. If I log in from another PC to my Microsoft account, what is really cool is that it's going to say, okay, here's a secret code, and it's going to show you on your laptop screen a code. And it's going to say, can you log in on your phone? So I just click the Microsoft app or Authenticator app, and it shows me the same code that I see on my PC screen. And below it, it says, do you want to accept the connection to Windows 10, Microsoft Edge to that account? Because it knows what browser is being used, what operating system. So you know with your computer, okay, I'm doing it with this Windows 10 machine and Microsoft Edge. All you have to say is agree or decline. It's a little bit like the Google stuff, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, it's more secure and short, Gregor, but man, when you change phone, that's where the problems. And I would say that the biggest problem is if for some reason you didn't change your phone broke. That's the worst. Because if your phone broke, you don't have access anymore to the Google Authenticator. It gets a lot more complicated at some point. And you have to use the Google, all the Google ways of, well, okay, I can't authenticate, so I have to use another way of getting back into my accounts. And it's a hell of a problem, I can tell you that. So yeah, it's good, but man, when you change phone, it's still too complicated. It needs to be much more simple. To give you an idea, a friend of mine that has a bar had all his accounts on Google Authenticator, because I told him it was very important to have two-factor authentication. He lost his phone, so he got a new iPhone. It was so complicated to get all of his accounts back that I was like, okay, this is too complicated. I understand it's for security, but whoa, that's a little too complicated. So, hey. Basically, that's, what's happening. What else do we have? What else do we have? Check it out here. Okay, so it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see all the different security things, and the great questions basically, as we see about security. So Stephen Mail getting closer to getting a Chromebook thanks to all the info that he's getting. So pretty cool. And slowly, we're getting more and more ways to how do I make a shortcut to my desktop for Pornhub? You can pin it to the taskbar or the start menu. When you right-click, you have a way to pin. You can pin any website to the taskbar at the bottom if you want, or stuff like that from Edge. You just check it out here. So when you're in Edge, I'm just going to right-click here. Let's print select all. Okay, let's go into the. What else do we have here? So you can. Okay, here's the important stuff. Name Google. And create a folder. There's a way to pin it, but I just don't remember it. Where it's here. Yeah, copy, paste. You know, I miss one of the very, very good things that was on Internet Explorer. In Internet Explorer, there was a great feature that I wish would be back in Edge, is send to. When you would right-click on any page, you had send to, and you could send to desktop, and it would create a shortcut. That's an option that I miss. So if I look here, well, how do you want to do this? I'm trying to find it. I don't find it really now. If I go on the top, oh, here, okay, pin. So, okay, when you're on the website, okay, when you're on your website, you go onto the tab, the open tab at the top left of your browser. So I've got the Google page, and the tab named Google is there on the upper left. Right click on that tab, and you will have pin. And when you click here, it pins to, I believe, the start menu. Let me just check it out. Did it pin it somewhere? It must have pinned it. Now, the biggest problem I have here is that I'm using the Insider Preview, and it doesn't work, so maybe it's not working correctly. Oh, pin or unpin? No, that's weird. Okay, I can pin there. I don't remember how to pin it to, how do you pin a website? I forgot how to pin a website. So, but I use the bar like this also. I like to have the bar and have it pinned at the top. But, you know, you can pin a website. I remember you can pin a website, but I don't remember how to do it. Well, what about here? If I go here, oh, here it is in the menu on the upper right corner, the 3 little dots. So what you do is when you're on your page, you go in the 3 little dots here, and in the options you have pin this page to start. So if I use it right now, it says, do you want to pin this title, this style to start? And if I say yes, and if I go to the start menu, I now have a Google website that is pinned to the start screen. So that's how you pin. You go into the 3 dots on the upper right corner of Edge, and you choose pin to start. And when it's in the start, just want to try something here out of curiosity. When it's in the start, can you move it somewhere? Yeah, you can. I think you can slide it on the desktop. You just take it and remove it and slide it on the desktop. You can also right click on it, and you can any other options here? Well, you can probably pin it to the taskbar by moving it also into the taskbar. Yep, you can send it to the taskbar if you want. But that's interesting. So lots of little things here, and Tim says, what do you do to edit your videos, if anything? I've tried various editing software. The more powerful ones seem to have the highest learning curve. The less powerful ones are easier. Yeah, that's why I don't edit really much. You know, I prefer starting my videos 6 times in a row than editing, because it's driving me. Editing, you know, I have patience for a lot of stuff in life. For some reason, editing videos is not one of them. And but I know that there's one of the screen recorders. Let me just remember the name. In one of the top free screen recorders that are available, it also has the editing available there. Top free screen recording software. I'm just gonna check it out here. If you use, what was the one that I seen? I think it's EasyVid. EasyVid. That one, I believe, has a also editing possibility. So when you record, you can edit everything that you want. but I have zero patience for editing, so I try to just go with the flow. I've actually become quite good at going with the flow. He says he's going to try VSCD free version. So on some types of videos, you know, the ones that I do are easy to just do in one slide. So I just, you know, you record and you go on and you do the stuff that you have to do, even though you do it a few times. But there are some types of videos that, yeah, you do need to have some editing done to have it looking great. So I used to make game demos, and 20-minute video took me about 100 hours. Yeah, it's just incredible when you want to really edit and have things look. You know, if I made one video a week, I would edit and I would, you know, make it super clean and nice. But my YouTube usage is not one video a week. My YouTube usage is, let's post the maximum number of videos about something that I want to talk about when I have the time to do it. So editing is out of the question unless I want to post 3 videos a week, which is not what I want. And with what I do, as long as I just keep with the flow and explain how to do something. So what I'll do very often is, in my types of videos, I'll do the procedure 2 or 3 times. And once I get the hang of it so I don't have to hesitate, I'll start the recording and, okay, we do this, we go there, we do that, we click that, we get a file, we go, and we go with the flow. And if I mess up, or if I somehow don't know what to say at some point because I don't know, I got distracted or something, I just stop and I restart it again. And it takes me less time to restart a video 6 times than it would take me to take the video, remove that part where I said this, remove that part when that happened, and that would be much longer, basically. So that's pretty much what I do. Grateful person. She'll have patience for a lot of things, but Skype isn't one of mine. Yes, I have noticed that Skype isn't one of yours. So hey guys, we are at the end of our show, almost 2 hours here. So it was pretty cool. Fun to have the chat room where we can interact also. And just to give you guys an idea, I'm going to now go make donuts. Yeah. Everything is ready. I just need to make the recipe and make donuts. Unfortunately, if there would be a possibility, I'd send all of you a few donuts, but the internet is still not there to that point where I can send you guys stuff. So thanks everybody for being here. It was a really nice show. This was show number 54 for Tuesday, November 22nd. And if you've got questions during the week, just comes to your mind, helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com is where you send it. And that's pretty much what's going to happen. How about 4 to 5 hours like the radio show? Well, you know, it's not out of the question that eventually it could be longer. You know, since there's no more learn the tech afterwards. You know, I have no problem in just you know, going with the flow. So that could, you know, there's possible. It's not impossible that sometimes, you know, show can go for 2 hours, 3 hours. I will kind of, you know, take it. One of the things that's interesting, though, for the tech show, for some reason, I find it a little more. It's like it takes more energy for me to talk about tech stuff than it is for the radio stuff for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because it's more focused and more, you know, I don't know. It's trying to find answers to questions and stuff. I don't know. It's not the same. There's something different. I can tell you that. Grapple Persal Gilles, do you think Microsoft will ever create a home hub like a thingy like Alexa or Google Home for Cortana? Or is Microsoft going to let this opportunity go by them? You know what? Microsoft is one of those mysterious companies that misses the boat on so many things. They missed the boat on phone. And sometimes when you look at the way things goes, you're almost surprised that they were able to pull it off with Windows. I have heard that rumors are of a possible Cortana-like hub that would be announced when they would announce the new Surface Book 2, which would mean somewhere in early 2017, like February or March. What I have learned is that we will have, okay, just to give you guys an idea, Surface Pro 5, the next tablet, and Surface Book 2, the next laptop, will be announced before the next Creators Update of Windows 10. And everybody's saying probably early February. And also there is apparently a few new things there that should be announced. And one of them is apparently a Cortana type hub that is going to answer your questions and control whatever you want, like Alexa and that Google Home, basically. So, you know, let's wish that maybe. Does chat save? Not from what I know, but if you click, let me just check something on the chat here. That doesn't work. But if you, oh yeah, there's yeah, no, that's the full page. I'm just looking at how you could do something. Yeah, no, not from what I know. I think there's no way to save the chat, unfortunately. I was looking if you could, you know, click on the text and click do Control A for all and try to copy the text or something, but it doesn't seem to work, unfortunately. It doesn't seem to work. And if I look at other options here, what do I have here on the right side? That's okay. And here I have, okay. Yep. There's nothing. There's nothing I see here in the chat in the options. So I don't think that we can save the. Well, I don't put sprinkles on my donut. I think. I don't know in English. That's the term I don't know. In English, we have powdered sugar. You know, not the regular sugar like you put in your coffee. The really powdered, fine powdered sugar. This is how my mom made donuts when I was young. So basically what I do is a regular, actually I make the same donut recipe that my mom did when I was young. And once it's hot, I put it in a paper bag with the fine powdered sugar and mix the bag so they get all recovered in that little fine powdered sugar. And I can tell you, I'm probably going to eat 7 or 8 donuts while making them. That's not counting that I'm going to eat at least 2 or 3 donuts, uncooked donuts. For some reason, I love just the dough. It's just so good. So I think that's going to be that's going to be interesting. So maybe I should put the live camera in me making donuts tonight and talk about Christmas stories. Oh, that would be cool. having a live show where it's just related to I'm making donuts and talking about Christmas stories, and everybody could share their own little Christmas thing. And by the way, talking about Christmas, I'm going to talk to you guys about this because I was thinking about that. Yeah, icing sugar. I think it's that. It's icing sugar, Peter Sargent. Thanks for mentioning it. It's icing sugar. I think that's what's called icing sugar. And so we just mix icing sugar in a paper bag, and I just, put the donuts in there. Okay. I just want to say to everybody on this year, the week before Christmas, the Tuesday. I'm gonna just look at it right now. Okay, so put that in your calendars, people. On December the 22nd, okay, we'll be 3 days away from Christmas. The tech show will not be a tech show that week. I want to transform this show on December 22nd as a Christmas show, where we're going to talk about anything. If you have tech questions, of course, I'll answer them, but we'll concentrate that week on let's just have fun and talk about Christmas memories and all sorts of things, and share our different ideas and anything and things that maybe some of you will be doing in the holiday season and so on. So December the 22nd, sorry, not 22nd, that's a Thursday, 20th. I'm really sorry. December the 20th, the Tuesday before Christmas, December the 20th. We're going to have, it's really going to be a free show. It's like, let's go with the flow, talk about Christmas souvenirs, and just have fun. So yeah, that's something that could be done also. Grateful Pearls, mix the powdered sugar, a little milk, and drop of vanilla. One thing that I want to try one day is also one day I want to do a little mix with some chocolate and have a little chocolate icing on top of the donuts. But I never do anything different because it's the second time. The reason I'm doing donuts tonight, by the way, is because 2 weeks ago when my family was over, I had a family gathering 2 weeks ago because my sister cannot be here for Christmas. So we kind of did a pre-Christmas weekend. And I made donuts because I do this every year. Every year I have something called a donut party, and the donut party consists on me making donuts and then me and my family getting drunk for the rest of the evening. That's another story. But we're having a lot of fun, and every year we have, I have my donut party, and basically. What happened is that I did donuts. Of course, I did make some donuts back then, but I kept the oil because I made like 75 donuts, and because we were a lot of people, we ate all the donuts. There were no more donuts. I think there were like 4 donuts left the next day, and we just ate the donuts. And basically. When I did that, my sister said, "Hey, you want to try a different recipe?" And the first thing that I said is, "No, I want to make Mom's recipe." And every time I think about changing the recipe or doing something else, for some reason, what I want when I make the donuts, I just want to make the same donuts that my mom made when I was young, especially because I only make them, maybe once a year. So I don't know. For some reason, I want to have the same taste and the same types of donuts that my mom made when I was young, and that's why it's like So don't worry, Tim. I'm hungry too. Talking about donuts, I can tell you, I'm gonna really. I've never, did I? No, I've never tasted Krispy Kreme chocolate covered donuts. I remember tasting some Krispy Kreme donuts at some time, a long time ago. So, so basically, yeah, we could make, Vladimir, we could make some maple donuts or honey donuts. I like actually honey donuts, those kind of glazed honey donuts. They're kind of good. But yeah, a donut party in the chat. Yeah, let's bring the camera in the kitchen and start the donuts. What do you think, guys? Oh man. So just remember, guys, December 20th, Tuesday, December 20th, we are going to have a Christmas show where we're just going to talk about and share our memories. And oh, diabetic Patrick, beer donuts. Beer donuts. Oh, I like that, Grapple Pearls. Yes, it happen from time to time. It happens to me that I'd like to bake cakes. It does happen. That sounds so good. Homemade caramel cake made from scratch. Oh man, I'm getting hungry for sure. New topic. Let's start a new stream and make donuts live. Oh man. Oh man, I can tell you. It sounds good just by the name. So, hey, take care, everybody. It was nice to have everybody on board. And we'll be back next week with our live tech show, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2000 hours UTC. And have a great evening, night, day, or whatever, wherever you are. Thanks for being here. It's always fun to have everybody here. And see you next week. And if you have any questions during the week, helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com. Bye, everyone. And take care. Stay safe. Very important.